If you enter the phrase professional haircut in Google, you get pictures of white men. But if you enter unprofessional haircut, the results are mainly women of color. Is the world's most powerful search engine racist? Pieter Bouteniers says no. Google is just an example of machine learning. Google uses algorithms to learn the surfing habits of billions of users worldwide.
Computer algorithms don't discriminate. They actually just make a difference between what you might like and might not like. If a lot of people, if they search for a professional haircut and they click on images of white men instead of women, for example, then they know that every time you search for that, they will return the images of white men.
Pieter Bouteniers also writes algorithms. They may not look like much, but they're very powerful.
Machine learning is quite new, so it's coming up in the recent years. There's been research on it since the 70s, maybe even earlier. But before really using machine learning, people write specifically what the algorithm should do in which case. If that happens, then do that. Now what we do is you give it an example or a lot of examples and you let it learn by itself what it should do in those cases.
Machine learning is already shaping our experience of the world. Take this very simple example, a robotic vacuum cleaner. This technology is also important in autonomous cars. The programmer has borrowed one of Tesla's cars to demonstrate what the US manufacturer does with his data.
So Tesla has many sensors. So one of the sensors is this distance sensor here. So they measure about 2 or 3 meters around the car and you have them on all of the corners. Behind this bumper, there is actually a radar, and that radar can see through other cars in front of it. So that way it knows what's driving in front of it and what's driving in front of the next car. What Tesla does is it gathers the data from all these sensors, and if you allow them, it sends them to a central server of Tesla, and it will learn how you drive. And based on your driving habits, they train their algorithms to become smarter and to know how to drive a car.
Pieter takes us on a tour of Ghent, the city where he's from.
So now the car is driving itself. I'm not touching the steering wheel. As you can see, it's making this turn, doing it completely by itself.
Autonomous vehicles will eventually take over. So in 10 or 20 years, everyone who drives for a living, like bus and taxi drivers, will be out of work. Machine learning will eliminate other jobs too.
So we will actually see a whole new shift of how the market will look like, how the job market will look like in the future. So it's going to be completely different than what we know now. It's going to be similar like the Industrial Revolution, what's going to happen and what's actually already happening at this moment.
It's impossible to predict what it'll mean for society when machine learning takes over. But one thing seems clear. Algorithm designers like Pieter Bouteniers will still have a job.